Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is Friday Junior, folks. Friday Junior. Welcome, everybody. John Lithium, Seth Evans, Quad Bennett, Derry Bennett, Michael Hasser, Moanep, Bruno, Stop Ice and Save Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl in 26. Yeah, there has been reports that Bad Bunny is going to be the one to play the Super Bowl halftime show. Will it be safe to attend the Super Bowl? I don't know. Probably as safe as it is to attend any large event. Bad Bunny has a historic opportunity to do the funniest goddamn thing in a while, with all those ICE personnel so conveniently gathered in one place. So it seems that Bruno welcomes. It seems that EA was purchased. Yep. By the Saudis, and I think Jared Kushner through a private equity firm. Yep. Kirkenstein's Monster. I have arrived. Rebel Phoenix, $52 billion. Yep. It's not good, by the way. It's bad. It's very bad. Presumably the reason why they want this is for backdoor access to people's information. Jared badly wanted to own The Sims, but couldn't find a DVD-ROM drive. Alright, folks, we gotta get started. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate all of the support. You guys are what makes this channel go. If you want to support the channel directly, head up the merch. ! Tip. Do the Substack. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. And check out my show on this space. Yes, the game company. The game company. Let's get started, folks. Should probably start here, I guess. We could all have a little laugh at Tim Pool's expense, I'm sure.
It is being widely reported, at least the first ship of 11 people that we summarily executed as a country in the Caribbean Sea as they were traveling from Venezuela to Trinidad. And then I think they were actually, once they realized like they're being tailed by a drone, they tried to turn back to Venezuela. It is being reported that those people now in Venezuela were just merely fishermen, and which makes sense. Because 11 people on a boat running drugs of that size does not make sense, because
You're wasting gas.
You want it to be the drugs.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, here is Tim Pool sort of walking that fine line. Remember,
Donald Duck, welcome. Even in relative terms to Universal Trust as modern corporate and their governance. Yep. I even thought pulling out their games from Steam was a smart move. I mean, by all means, like, run the company to the ground. I don't care. Not a big EA fan. I don't play sports games. I don't play anything else that EA puts out. So, yeah, Godspeed. I hope they drive that ship to the ground.
Tim wants to both pretend he's sort of libertarian, sort of anti-war, but also pro-Trump, and also,
Against the pro-Palestine protesters.
he needs to walk a line.
It's quite a monkey's pod.
One guy.
And here he is.
Whoa!
Matt was engaging in his classic.
Someone's gonna get deductions on the commissary. Ladybug, welcome. The only thing is EA, if EA goes, so does BioWare, for better or for worse. Dead Space. Oh, well, I actually never got the chance to play Dead Space, but I bought it off Good Old Games. So, I own the original Dead Space. I own that .exe file forever. So, yeah. But that's the old Dead Space.
Can only listen to
3.7 times.
That was actually Tim Pool in
I can't be watching
0.75.
that. I can't be watching that at normal speed. Okay. The life is too short.
Fall draft in 9 years. I don't want to be involved in a war overseas. We got enough problems with these narco gangs coming out of Venezuela and South America, bringing drugs through our border, child trafficking, all this really nasty stuff. And you know what
the original isn't DA. Gotcha.
should be happening? Venezuela should be saying, stop. These guys who are getting up on these boats with drugs should be like, I ain't doing that. Are you crazy? And that's what we are getting with a real Department of War.
Real
I gotta tell you,
Department of War.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, we get, what was it, Collateral Murder was the name of the video put up by WikiLeaks. And I'm wondering why it is there is a video at all of, I think it was like, what was like an Apache or something, a helicopter strike on a bunch of guys, including a Reuters journalist. And it was this big scandal. Whoopsie. Why?
Wait, what?
Why is that the news that we're getting?
Hold on.
Still.
Oh my God! Are we
Hold on.
still
Wait,
doing
wait.
this?
Hold on.
Why was that the news? It was leaked by Chelsea Manning, and she was in jail for years because of that specific video.
Phenomenal. I always thought Dead Space was overrated. I haven't played it. I mean, it was on my list. Eventually, I'll get to it. Eventually.
You're confused, Tim.
Is he?
Does he not know what? Does he think it was accidentally leaked by the U.S. government?
He does this weird thing where he tries to play both sides, but like that was an example where the president was a liberal, and the liberals were the ones upset about that too.
Also,
No, that was during. That was
During Obama.
well. They were the ones who imprisoned Chelsea Manning for the leak.
Right.
This was.
He came out under
yeah.
Obama too. Yeah.
and I'm just to self-centeredly point out, he's reappropriating Whoopsie.
I think, or maybe that's just the thing.
No, there's no way. Okay, whatever.
It's just a
He's-
Mortal Kombat.
I
thing.
guess.
People his
I
age.
guess. Also, like, how are we getting
But is
out of?
is the Mortal Kombat is the Mortal Kombat thing Toasty or Whoopsie? And Tim just became a Mortal Kombat voice actor. Her book is good. Yeah, it's not even Whoopsie, it's Toasty, isn't it? Yeah, he's saying toasty. He's saying toasty. Oh, it's Toasty, Frosty, and Whoopsie. Gotcha. Yeah, I thought it was Toasty.
Foreign wars by bombing and trying to provoke. What we're trying to do
let's
is
see where
provoke
it's at. It's just
Venezuela.
like he doesn't seem to he doesn't know
Okay.
the history of that, or he never bothered to. But go ahead.
Okay.
What are we doing over there? Now, I get it. You had the Gulf War, you had weapons of mass destruction, whatever the claims were, and I'm just like, what is this? The obsession that the liberal economic order had, the European and U.S. forces with going overseas and nation building. They were trying to
Pause it.
It was
Liberal economic forces. You mean capital? You mean capital? Wow, comrade Tim Pool.
Incidentally, it was a conservative Republican president who led us into that war.
And it wasn't liberal economic order nation building, it was the global war on terror.
And what does he think we're doing in Venezuela? We are explicitly saying that that is for regime change purposes. What Trump is doing is bombing a ship, we now know we're fishermen, in order to provoke the Venezuelan government to respond so we can wage war or regime change
Exactly.
against them.
A pretext.
Is he just unknowledgeable about the history, or is he trying to sort of cram the history
I
in?
mean, if I may, I don't think it matters, right? Did the Russian money run out for Tim Pool? You probably spent it all on that skate park. Welcome, my bipedal meatbag. Welcome, Soul Life. Tim is just making sounds here. It makes more sense. It makes as much sense as Chat GPT 1.5. Ground level news. Welcome. Is Tim obscuring his past positions? He doesn't have positions.
And to fit as a premise for what he's about to say.
I think it's hard to answer those questions definitively because I think Tim has two hemispheres of his brain that work independently. The one which is basically anti-war, saying I don't trust the government, and the other that says like I'm very proud of what Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are doing.
As Secretary of War.
nation building, right? What does that have to do with making the American people live better lives? Now, let me say this. I'm not so stupid or naive to think that with Hegseth and Trump, we won't get similar things.
Wait a minute.
I don't trust any of these guys to a certain degree. I certainly see with Trump and Hegseth tremendous improvements. Trump has done amazing things working towards peace.
Wait.
They announced the other day this Gaza-Israel peace plan, which I don't trust Israel at all. And there's reports now that Netanyahu's already trying to walk back the agreement, but it won't matter. You're going up against Trump and Hegseth, and these guys,
Wait.
these are not the weak, woke military of
Feels
yesterday.
like you trust them.
Yeah, didn't you just say you don't trust them all the way? But
Two hemispheres.
let's not listen to what Benjamin Netanyahu said about not abiding by the ceasefire or the fact that he already.
That's phenomenal stuff coming from Tim Pool. It's actually amazing. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that in the same breath, in the same sentence, you can both say, I don't trust the government, I don't trust these guys, and also, like, yeah, these guys are great. This is not your woke military of yesterday, but also I can't trust them. Literally in the same sentence. It's amazing. It really is. Fascinating.
Did this earlier in January and just like didn't abide by the terms that Trump supposedly negotiated, and did this with Biden as well. We just trust the strong men that make Tim feel safe. But I don't
it's the
trust
two
them all the
hemispheres.
way.
But I'm proud of what they're doing.
And I love them.
Here he gets to the boat.
So here's what I'm interested in. I see these drone strikes on these narco gangs, and the first thing I think is let's be honest. Are we going to trust the government? If you want to trust the government, I got a bridge to sell you. I'll tell you what. Luke Rutkowski wearing a shirt the other day, trust God, not government. However, there's something really funny here.
Fantastic. Be for real, man. This guy's no Christian. Was it that one video where Paul called him something like loud conservative, quiet liberal? I wonder if Tim gets Israeli money. I don't watch him enough, but maybe it's hush money. Who knows? Didn't he say that he was going to have some type of like conversation with Netanyahu or something? I forget. I don't know.
When I see a story about Barack Obama blowing up kids or whatever, you know, there's interestingly, coming from the liberal press, I have to wonder, like, wow, they're willing to say that about Obama. But there's a question, why? Why did Barack Obama order a drone strike on a civilian restaurant in Yemen, which killed a 16-year-old American?
What? What is he? What does this have to do with anything? I'm lost. Yeah, that was disgusting. Yeah, dude, all presidents are war criminals, man. What? I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Citizen, honest question. I'd like answers to that, please. Reportedly,
I'll
Donald Trump
pause
ordered
it.
a commando
We've talked about this. It was Anwar al-Awlaki's son, and it was wrong. I mean, they shouldn't have killed Anwar al-Awlaki either. The Obama administration found essentially on their own through the OLC that they had the authority to kill American citizens if they were engaged in inciting terrorism, as they claimed Anwar al-Awlaki did. His 16-year-old son was killed, I don't know if it was like 2 months later or 3 months later. And the only response that ever came from the White House was the guy who went on, I think, to work for Uber. I can't remember which one, who said, well, he had a bad dad.
Oh, Malcolm Nance.
No, it wasn't Malcolm Nance. Malcolm Nance we had on this program, but it was one of
Gibbs.
Gibbs.
Yeah,
I think it was Gibbs. And
there were so many Obama people that went to work for Uber.
I know. I don't know if he actually went to work for Uber. I can't
Tim
remember.
did have a face-to-face with BB someone recently. Okay, so I am remembering more or less. Biden actually virtually ceased drone strikes, but no one talks about it. Lefties don't simp for Obama like MAGA does. Like MAGA does for Trump. Yep. I mean, I don't care. Bad lefty, welcome. That is true. Biden did reduce significantly the amount of... Jesus. Biden did significantly, if not outright, reduce the amount of drone strikes. Yes, that's the thing that happened under his administration.
But that's what he said. We had Malcolm Nance on, and it was the last time we ever had him on. The first and last time we had him on, where he made that claim about al-Awlaki's son had a gun, as if, okay.
Just blow him up then.
But
we were critical of that.
So what is... Yes,
Yeah.
no,
That's
of
the
course.
thing is, like, so Tim's saying he doesn't know why we're doing that, but we actually did that for the same...
Drake2112, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. We want Obama thrown in the Hague, just like Biden, Kamala, and Trump. Yeah, they're all like every single president, as far as like I can remember, historically and contemporarily and whatever. Every president has been engaged in some sort of war crime of one variety over the other.
Flimsy pretext about fighting terrorism that we've done with this.
There's no pretext for the Venezuela thing. It is just like a narco terrorist of people going to Trinidad.
And why is he bringing that up when we have...
Biden still supported Israel's genocide, and that's his stain. Yep, among other things, yeah. Biden was the most left-wing president in my lifetime. I'll take some issue, but it's actually a pretty progressive term for a president, for a U.S. president. I mean, I guess in comparison, right? Recently, in my lifetime, like, would you say that Obama was more, I mean, like, it's kind of like, a misnomer, because, like, I don't know. Even if you're silent, you're an accomplice. You must be super young then. Yeah. I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny I hate saying it because it's such a low bar, but Biden through action really was the most progressive president of our lifetime. How effing sad is that?
Actually, like a case of right now, there's a 16-year-old American Palestinian citizen, Mohammed Ibrahim. Jasper Nathaniel's done a really good job reporting and kind of
It's
been in
just a low
communication
bar, really. In some ways, Biden was better, but they're all mixed bag at best.
with his family, being held in an Israeli prison that Trump is not basically doing anything to help so far, as of what we know. So going back 10 years to the 10 plus years to the Obama administration is a bit odd.
All right, let's see where he's going with this here.
Honest question. I'd like answers to that, please. Reportedly, Donald Trump ordered a commando raid in Yemen, which they say resulted in the death of I think, an 8-year-old American girl. There's nuance to these stories. Obama's administration admitted it. Whoops, they said. Trump administration, I don't believe, has given a statement. I'm not sure, but this is an allegation not yet proven. I don't care.
What?
I'm not playing any games. Why? Now,
What
if the
is he
Obama
talking
administration
about?
wants to admit it, I say, okay, then open a commission and investigate. They're not gonna. That was the killing
I'm
of
still
Abdurrahman
I'm still
al-Awlaki.
trying to understand why are we talking about Obama? Like I'm confused.
And to a certain degree, I understand we want to focus on moving forward instead of
They
going back
did
10
claim
years.
that they
or
killed
think
him.
in
I don't
both
know.
instances.
Like they
He
said
just
that they
admitted
had
that.
authority. I don't understand.
That was a weird thing where Tim had to admit that the Obama administration admitted.
So
when they
he's
killed
just
people.
rolling around and has no idea what he's saying in this situation. Okay, let's
Yeah,
get
10 years later, and they're still blaming the black guy. Tim will talk about anything but the topic at hand. True. Clinton did more for the working class than Biden did, and he still sucked too. I mean, kinda, but he also did a lot of bad stuff that really hurt the working class in the long term. Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I would say, like, Clinton, like, may have seemed pretty good, but, like, all the policy the ripple effects, man. I'm torn with Obamacare, though. I remember him saying it would cause insurance rates to go down since it subsidized insurance and all that extra money will drive prices down. That's not going to work. No, that doesn't work because that Obamacare was a health insurance was a health insurance bill. It was made by insurance companies. Insurance companies are designed to make money. Now, granted, there are some benefits that happened, and some people got better pricing through Obamacare. There's a lot of people that were able to obtain insurance who otherwise wouldn't have gotten insurance. In some sense, like, obviously, like, before Obamacare, believe it or not, it was even worse. Insurance companies could even not decide to not insure you based on pre-existing conditions, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm again, Obamacare did some good things, some stuff. But yeah, don't forget that Robert Reich left because he had disagreements about him pursuing neoliberalism. Yeah, Romney Care. Obamacare was originally thought of by the Heritage Foundation as the rights answer to single-payer health care. Yeah.
let's see, get to his point.
They do get to the point around here.
It says it's 8 years and 13 years or whatever. But I ask the question why, and I know you do too. Why are we getting stories like this? Then we get the drone strike on the boat in the
Yeah,
in the
no
Gulf.
doubt. So life, no doubt. There have been policies that Biden was able to get done, like the PACT Act and CHIPS and Science Act, that were fantastic. It's too bad that won't be his legacy to his foreign policy. One particular of the it turns out that no matter how much good you did, if you fund and support genocide, it kind of
Trump says in the
doesn't
Caribbean-
matter because
I think it was. These are narco gangs. These are terrorists shipping drugs and fentanyl or otherwise into the United States. And we aren't playing games anymore. And I say, okay, well, this is different. I know the why now. I understand the why. These people are
100% Quasi-Peck. 100%. I watch a Dota streamer that moved to the Netherlands and talks about how he doesn't mind paying his taxes there because he sees that his tax dollars at work every day, and that really highlighted my mind and how pathetic our policies of pretending to solve problems by funneling money into the private sector is. Yeah, well said. Well said. Yeah, genocide bad should be a controversial statement. Biden wasn't bold enough, and neither were the Dems. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the problem.
invading our country illegally with drugs. They're trafficking people. They're killing people. They're putting drugs on our street, which are killing our kids. Enough. Now, there are questions. Do I trust the government, right? They say, how do we know these guys are actually not.
Now, this all could be just a total lie.
Man, Tim Pool, man, this guy's so aggravating. Narcos was good on Netflix. I gotta watch some of this stuff before Netflix decides to raise its prices again because I'm not doing another Netflix increase. I'm not doing another Netflix increase. I'm drawing the line at the next one. The next time Netflix decides to increase their prices, I'm canceling it. Obamacare mostly helped the bottom percent. I had cheap, decent insurance before Obamacare, something like $5 per paycheck a month, and a $20 copay, and I got surgery with it. Yep. The problem is genocide has never been a deal breaker for the U.S. because it could be it would be hypocritical as that was the U.S.'s original sin. Yeah, I mean, no doubt.
And both on both ends of it, they weren't people who were doing that, and the people doing that weren't actually doing that either. But go ahead. It's like he just. How can he? It's like watching like a kid play with like G.I. Joe. Yeah. It's like, this is all fictional, but it's also real. And they're going, G.I. Joe's going at each other.
And this G.I. Joe was killed, but he's alive again.
And this is all real, but I don't believe any of it, but it's real.
Okay, there's one final 20 seconds here.
There are questions. Do I trust the government, right? They say, how do we know these guys are actually narco gangs or whatever? Okay. All right, fair point. Fine. Let's ask that question. But I understand the why in what we're doing. Not that I blindly trust the government, but in this instance.
Wait, but that's kind of important, Tim. That's kind of super important. That's kind of really, really important, right? Because if you're just bombing random fishing boats or random boats that you don't know whether or not they are narco boats or not, you just bomb them and, well, it's kind of too late. That's kind of like the whole thing. Globus the Elder, welcome. Drive time, ADT, let's go. Welcome. Hey, folks, take a second. Go check out Globus _ the Elder. Trump was such good friends with Charlie Kirk. He skipped out on Kirk's vigil to go play golf. Yep, as friends do. One of my favorite things that Biden did was trying to eliminate non-compete agreements for basic jobs for a tiny thing that he didn't push it hard enough, but I think it was really addressing a component of our emerging dystopia in a meaningful way. I mean, it would have been nice, that's for sure. Looney Tunes, leave Timbo the hell alone. He's my special little mega streamer. Okay. Say nice things or about me or get locked up. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I mean, basically, this is I mean, how much different would that be from a real Trump post?
When the U.S. military, when the U.S. government releases these videos, I go, you know, I don't think they're lying on this one. You know, Collateral Murder, that video was leaked because they didn't want anybody to find out.
All right,
Democrats-
okay, this is so convoluted that it's almost like I
kind of
regret even like the time we spent on it. The collateral damage video was video from Iraq when we were occupying that country in the wake of or on the ongoing war. The assassination of al-Awlaki was done in the name of the global war on terror and a specific authority that the president supposedly had, that Obama claimed, to assassinate people who were not. Al-Awlaki had nothing to do with Iraq. But theoretically, the why that he so desperately wanted was it's protecting us from terrorism, which is just as flimsy as the Trump administration saying it's protecting us from terrorism.
Yes. But he has a video of a boat this time.
But this time it's a video of a boat, and the Trump administration was happy to release it. There was no video that we know of al-Awlaki getting killed. It's just he's mashing together all sorts of things that are like, it's G.I. Joe, and it's also John Wayne fighting the Indians, and they're all going together, and the good guys. That's the whole point.
He's confusing Trump's shameless bloodlust and psychopathy with transparency, which is pretty much the MAGA base,
He
right?
has the stupidest
Yep.
audience
Probably
collected on the
more than
internet.
Dave.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I think Dave Rubin might be a better
Man, that's a bar. That's quite the bar.
stringer of thoughts. I don't know.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't. We don't need to rank, but that was pretty rough. I couldn't. It was hard
It's
to
not
follow.
a competition.
It's not.
That's the important thing to remember.
Yeah, chocolate and vanilla.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show.
Smart people don't like me. I expected better from you, Sam. We aren't Indians. Yeah, I get that. I mean, would it just be easier to say indigenous people or Native American? I mean, look, I am not indigenous to America, like the United States, but I do have indigenous ancestry from Central America, and it's funny because even in Spanish, in Central or in like Central America, they use the term Indian. That like, I don't know, like, if it's just like a Spanish colonial vestige that happened, that just kind of stuck because of the original colonists in English calling them Indians because they thought they were in India. But somehow it's fascinating. Because in Spanish they still use that word. It's all because of Drunken Italian.
I know things are pretty depressing right now in the United States, so I'm going to
Why is MR making Dave Rubin better using Toonpool's name? That and yeah. They never bothered to correct themselves. It's just like, I think it's just easy. Yeah, wouldn't it be from Columbus? Yeah, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Spanish took that too, which is wild because I guess they never bothered as well. They never bothered. Like, just either call them by the either call by the tribe name, or just indigenous people. It's just so simple. Columbus is a previously mentioned navigationally challenged Italian. Yeah. Fascinating.
I know things are pretty depressing right now in the United States, so I'm going to open today's video with some good news.
Oh.
Jimmy Kimmel is back. That's right. His show was taken off the air because he was insufficiently mournful of Charlie Kirk, but now he's back. So let's just enjoy a little moment of celebration. Okay, on to the main topic of today's video. Donald Trump has just declared that atheists are terrorists. That's cool. Not sure what I'm dreading more, Guantanamo or New Atheism 2.0? Newer atheism.
Yeah, I mean, not even Guantanamo, man. They'll just stick us in a concentration camp here. Why need to go to Guantanamo when there's a concentration camp like coming to a state near you? Columbus, kind of a dick, it turns out. Yeah, so much so that he was like stripped of all titles, wasn't it? He was so brutal that even in like the monarchy's eyes, the guy had to go. Or am I thinking of a different colonialist? I don't know. Kind of is a bit of an understatement. He's in the bad place because of slave trading and genocide. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's not like we can pull some good. It'd probably be easier. It'd probably be easier to find the positive stories. Because I mean, if I remember correctly, like the dude was so brutal, even by those standards, that the guy had to go. He was like stripped of titles, right? Was it Columbus or was it some other dude? Don't remember if the crown denounced Columbus, but many of his contemporaries did. Oh, okay. Yeah, he was arrested. He was initially arrested and stripped of his many titles after the colonists complained. The colonists, imagine that, complained about his harsh and tyrannical rule in Hispaniola. Although eventually he was released and allowed a final voyage, he never regained that power or prestige of his earlier years. Italy didn't want anything to do with him, which is why he ended up dying in Spain. Yeah, and for good freaking reason. The guy was a freaking monster, man. The guy was a monster. The Spanish monarch sent Francisco Bobadilla to investigate the situation in Hispaniola. He found the colony in disarray and arrested Columbus and his brothers and sent them back to Spain in chains. Yeesh. Since I'm agnostic, it is now a crime to have freedom of thought. Yep. My new executive order states that all left woke news like CNN, has anybody heard of CNN? The ratings are down the toilet. The left, radical left CNN, shut down and everyone watch Fox News because they talk good about me. Those are the real news. Do it or else. Thank you for your attention to this matter. When I saw the Columbus statue that got knocked into the pond, I had to raise a glass for the Cherokee and Mohawk parts of the family. Nice! Grandpa Hawk would have loved it.
I say that with love.
Newsmax is woke now? Yes. If Newsmax goes against the president, then yes, it is woke. A centrist news network. I've been reading Debt, the First 5,000 Years, and Graeber makes the argument that is some degree the structure of debt, finance, colonialism influenced the degree of brutality in those times. I don't know enough about it to fact check it though. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you. Better being woke than a bigot is all I've got to say. 100%. You know, it'd be really nice to know, like, what kind of tribe, like, what kind of tribes, I have ancestry with in Costa Rica, and unfortunately, the colonists, the Spanish and Portuguese, I want to say, unfortunately, they decided to kill like everyone there, or at least like over like 90% of indigenous people there just were eliminated in one way, shape, or another. So yeah, I don't know. Other than I do have ancestry tracing back to that, and ancestry tracing back to Guatemala, which means that that was probably what I want to say Mayan.
Because I was there for the first round of New Atheism and I enjoyed it for a while. In the wake of 9/11, we were seeing a big push from Christian fundamentalists who were starting to use the Bible to justify starting a war, putting prayer and creationism back in schools, and controlling women's right to access basic health care. It felt really important to push back on all of that to protect the wall separating church and state, lest the U.S. fall into Christo-fascism. But then it turned out that the guys leading the New Atheism charge were accepting loads of money.
That's kind of cool. Cherokee, Mohawk, Irish, and Swiss in the family. It's an odd mix of people who are really pissed off at the British. Yeah, I have, I'm basically split between, like, indigenous people from Central America and, obviously, Spanish, and, like, the Iberian Peninsula. So that kind of tracks for obvious reasons. That kind of tracks. Traces us to Chickasaw, German, and West African. Hey, cool. Nice. If you try hard enough, the Bible justifies everything. Yep.
Money and hanging out with a pedophile running a vast sex trafficking ring. And instead of taking my advice on how to get more women involved, they blackballed me from the lecture circuit and sent their fans after me with death threats.
Yeesh.
And here we are, Christo-fascism. I'll be honest, I didn't think that our failure would lead us all the way here. I've spent some time recently just trying to put myself back in my headspace circa 2008 or so, and I'm pretty sure all I had imagined was that we would go back to like the 1950s, where atheists can't hold office and women don't have access to abortions or birth control and creationism is taught in science classrooms. That kind of thing. I definitely did not consider that the President of the United States would, in the year 2025, direct the country's national security forces to investigate and disrupt people who have committed no crime, but who are deemed sufficiently anti-Christian. Because, yeah, that's what's happened. As Ken Klippenstein pointed out in a recent newsletter, this is not just another of Trump's many rambling...
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty concerning, right? We kind of went over... we kind of went over this. Yeah, more like 1930s Germany. I'm a Euromut. Nice. People are so mean to fascists. What's the worst thing that could happen if we give them a shot at running things? Well, I mean, you know, vaguely gestures of what's happening in the United States.
Executive orders, despite what some news outlets like C-SPAN are reporting. Executive orders are guidelines for the day-to-day operation of the federal government. What we're talking about today is a national security directive, which, as Ken explains, is a sweeping policy decree for the defense, foreign policy, intelligence, and law enforcement apparatus. National security directives are often secret, but in this case, the Trump administration chose to publish NSPM 7, only the seventh since he's come into office. Previous national security directives have been controversial, even politically earth-shaking. In 1980, for example...
Yep. And this is pretty disturbing. Hutch rating in with a party of 230. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hutch, for bringing in your wonderful community, folks. Hey, welcome. Welcome in. If you haven't seen me, I am a difficult truth. I do the news. I do the politics. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. I do a show on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hey, if you enjoy your stay here, hit that follow button like some of you have already done. Hutch and ADT are great voices on the left. I appreciate that. Heck yeah, thank you. Him 3456, making bacon. Once again, folks, hey, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. And Hutch needs no introduction, but if you haven't done so, please reciprocate the love. You mean Tuesdays? Yes, I mean Tuesdays. I'm sorry. I meant Tuesdays. Look, the name, like, it's past 6 p.m. Okay, I'm hungry. You gotta cut me some slack here. General Mart, welcome. Major, welcome. Hutch is a washed-up COD streamer. Oh, don't do that. Don't do Hutch like that. He's not wrong, though. Member if Nixon hadn't resigned, he would have been impeached. Yep. Thank you for the follow, Cherry. Cherry Sassafras. Look, folks. If you don't like fascism, if you are against this authoritarian regime, and you are against this authoritarian regime because you are pro democracy and you're pro freedom and you cherish the value of liberty. I know these are all like interchangeable, but you get my point. Then I think all of us here have a project to work on, and that is opposing authoritarianism. So buckle up, folks. It's going to be a long 4 years. Yes, if you respect the rule of law and you want things to work as they should, if you want people to have better lives, if you just oppose fascism on the principle of it being authoritarian and totalitarian, and just a violent ideology, then we've got some work to do. We've got some work to do. Is pineapple on pizza authoritarian? And then I hate it. Yeah, sure. It's gonna be longer than 4 years if Dems can't straighten the heck up and quick. Yeah, I know, but presumably that's the short term of it, right? I mean, it could also be that somehow we managed to have proper midterms, and somehow Republicans lose power. That could be an outcome. So we'll see. Due process and accountability go hand in hand. Yeah, neither are present at this time. That's right. Due process, accountability, the rule of law, democracy. Waiting on the strongly worded letter from Schumer and Jeffries. I don't know. Maybe they're not just up to it this time. Maybe a tweet will have to suffice. That's sounding suspiciously left-wing there. Might have to start an investigation. Yeah. Speaking of, hey, look, folks. Even if listen, even if you're not communism's or socialism's greatest warrior, okay, all of this affects all of us, okay. All of this is affecting all of us, okay. If you are anti-fascist on principle of being anti-fascist because you don't like fascism, okay, congratulations, you're now an enemy of the state. If you are authoritarian, anti-Gestapo, if you are anti-Gestapo, congratulations, you are an enemy of the state. If you don't agree 100% with what Daddy Trump is saying, okay, congratulations, you are now an enemy of the state. You are now Antifa. A SOCTEM welcome here? Yes. Come on, midterms, I need an election night where I'm drinking in celebration and not obliteration.
President Jimmy Carter signed the top-secret Presidential Directive 59, PD 59, directing new nuclear warfighting policies that persisted until the end of the Cold War. When revealed, PD 59 caused a public furor. So yeah, while we can all chuckle at Trump's executive order labeling anti-fascists as terrorists, NSPM 7 is actually...
Well, by definition, if you don't like capitalism, you're on the left. That didn't sound very enthusiastic, but I take your word. Well, yeah, I mean, we all kind of have to work together, okay? This is an all hands on deck. It doesn't matter if we agree 100% or not. It doesn't matter if we agree 100% or not. The reality is this fascism is here, and it's gonna take all of us. Because at the end of the day, it's going to affect all of us. McDonald's Happy Meals are now banned from school. I have consulted with Bobby Kennedy, before I remove him that Happy Meals are woke and kids should be like me and eat Popeye's chicken. I didn't know he switched to Popeye's. I like capitalism, but for supplementary and luxury goods, housing, food, and medical needs need to be socialized ASAP. I mean, I agree with that. Not gonna fight you on that. Laws are woke, true. Off to fundraiser, adios. Appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by, Echo Soldier. Appreciate that.
A bigger fucking deal. In this document, he commands the existing network of counterterrorism forces to stop investigating actual terrorists who are focused on slaughtering American citizens and to start investigating organizations and individuals who display any kind of anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, race, and gender, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality.
Yeah, so in other words, that's all of us, folks. That is all of us. Okay? That is all of us. Everyone here is a enemy of the state. Okay. I think one of the things that is scaring me the most is that the Trump administration has pretty clearly moved past the LGBTQ plus as the enemy to anyone that doesn't hate the LGBTQ plus is the enemy, and similar shifts on the far right positions are already tightening the hierarchy. Yep. United pro-democracy is what we need now, not division between people who see eye to eye on a majority of things. Yeah, I agree with that. The American Gestapo. Yep. I'm an enemy of a foreign state now. Yeah, you're an enemy of the. Well, I don't know if you're if you're in the if you're a U.S. citizen, and you believe in any of these things. If you believe, for example, that people should be equal, that nobody should be discriminated against based on race, gender. If you believe that immigrants are people and have rights, if you believe that that trans people are people, then I have news for you. Yes, you are an enemy of the state now. I'm afraid. And what about being anti-constitution, not criminal? No, that's okay because the dear leader is actually anti-constitution. So that's cool. That's okay. Notice how none of that is present in this text.
To be dramatic, but that was a list of like 8 behaviors, and depending on how you define extremism, I'm pretty sure I've done all of those. Have I ever committed any kind of violence? No, but that doesn't matter because Trump directs forces to intervene before they result in violent political acts. The weaponizing of post-9/11 anti-terrorism measures to target American citizens is in no way surprising. We pointed it out when George W. Bush set up all this shit in the first place.
Yeah, and remember George Bush, like the 9/11 stuff, like post 9/11, it gave us ICE, okay? It gave us the Patriot Act. Taya33, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Looks like violating the First Amendment is not a crime anymore. Nope. Doesn't seem to be the case. We don't have technically a First Amendment. If there's no hardline stops, where it doesn't matter who's president, but or who's in charge, if there's no hardline stops that say like you are violating these rights and no consequences, then I mean like fundamentally they don't exist, right? Like we all don't. By the way, we all don't have the right to due process. Not really, because as we see, willy-nilly, due process gets turned on or off at will. It's hard to prosecute anti-constitutionalism when the Supreme Court is a rubber stamp for increased governmental fascism. Yep. George Carlin warned us about this crap. Yep. Only English as your primary language makes you people. Everyone else is an animal, but not the good kind that you want to pet at the zoo. He said fascism would eventually rise in America. Yep. He talked about, little hats and everything.
A few years later when Bush's own national security directives were revealed and the country learned that the NSA was illegally spying on Americans. We knew that it would be used against leftist agitators because that's what the U.S. government has been doing since, I don't know, 1776-ish. We do it in other countries.
By the way, like leftist agitators is all of us, by the way. Okay? Leftist agitators is all of us. That's who they're talking about. They're talking about anyone to the left of hunting the homeless for sport. Yeah. Now we have Palantir AI and the stone narcissistic Nazi billionaire and his good friend Peter with all of our data. Yep.
And of course we do it here.
It was so easy too. Like it's so scary how easy that was for them to like. Literally all of our social security numbers are basically like, as far as we know, unsecure in the wind. It was unbelievably easy. Yeah, the Lincoln Project guys. Even though I'm pretty like I'm not like the biggest fan of like the Lincoln Project. Even those people are enemies of the state basically because they don't 100% toe the line. Of Daddy Trump, even those guys, they're enemies of the state essentially, too, according to Trump.
as well. Have you ever noticed that here in the United States, the religious right is extremely well organized to the point that they have achieved all of their wildest dreams despite being a significant minority with wildly unpopular policies? And that leftists are so disorganized that we can't even get political candidates platformed in what is ostensibly our own party. That's not because of leftist infighting or all the pot we smoke. I mean, it's not just because of those things. It's also because the United States government systematically targeted leftist groups and individuals to sow discord and tear them down before they were able to get any traction. For instance, in the 1950s, the FBI launched a massive counterintelligence campaign to discredit and disrupt radical organizations and individuals, including feminists, anti-war protesters, civil rights activists, environmentalists, and more. COINTELPRO also targeted right-wing groups, but only those groups that moved from organizing to actual violence, like the Ku Klux Klan. None of this is hidden, and in fact, researchers have examined the distinct ways that the U.S. government treated leftists compared to their treatment of white hate groups. In understanding state responses to...
I mean, like, look, all of this stuff, you know, is very demonstrable by this, look, throughout, as far as we can, like, point back to, the overwhelming political violence, the deadliest and most persistent threat of political, like, domestic terrorism has been the far right. Okay, this is not new. This is not like shocking, you know, revelations. Okay, we've known this for a while, and we're still, you know, and they still go out there and pretend like there's some like equal, like there's some kind of equivalence between like left-wing violence, quote unquote, meaning like protesting authoritarianism, versus like far-right violence, which are generally deadlier and more prominent in the United States. And you see how they tried to equivocate and seem to always have a bone to pick with like left-wing organizations. Radicals, what they were talking about in the 50s were just people who wanted civil rights. Wait until you hear what Fox News has been saying. It all leaked online. It was unencrypted on an insecure server, just sitting on the cloud. There's no doubt in my mind someone has a copy that shouldn't. Russia was trying to log in 15 minutes after Big Balls. Yeah, this doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's safe to say that like basically all our social security numbers are leaked. Holy cheesy, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. My fellow Americans, I'm happy to say that YouTube has crushed woke yet again and canceled GNN. Keep canceling woke.
Left versus right-wing threats, the FBI's repression of the New Left and the Ku Klux Klan, sociologist David Cunningham examined 12,000 pages of FBI memos related to COINTELPRO. He wrote, while central actors within the FBI viewed the mere existence of individuals and groups espousing the anti-establishment ideology associated with the New Left as subversive, this was not true with the Ku Klux Klan. The presence of most white hate groups in itself would not have been sufficient to warrant the initiation of repressive activity. Groups with similar anti-integrationist goals, such as white citizens' councils, were not targeted within COINTELPRO. The Bureau portrayed these Klan-related and other hate organizations as subversive because they were actively engaged in violent acts against blacks and civil rights workers, and this behavior threatened the legitimacy of established authority structures. Subject to increasing criticism from a liberal constituency, the FBI was being pressured to do something to eliminate this threat, and they chose to initiate a covert program that would not compromise their working relationship with local police departments, many of whom supported the New Left organizations. A successful counterintelligence program needed not to eliminate the Klan as much as to control the group's actions and minimize its potential for violence. This desire led to two phenomena not seen in COINTELPRO New Left: a campaign to steer members of white hate groups to acceptable targeted groups, for example, groups not actively engaged in violence, and an increased emphasis on infiltrating white hate groups at a level sufficient to exert some control over the group's decision-making apparatus. Both of these attempts to control a target group's activities sometimes involved actually strengthening acceptable white hate alternatives rather than attempting to eliminate these groups altogether. If you're interested in reading more of this, as always, links to everything I talk about in every video can always be found in the video transcript, always linked in the description, and found on patreon.com/Rebecca and over at skepchick.org for free. Cunningham includes copious examples to support his conclusions which I found in part pretty surprising. For example, one of his findings was that despite sympathizing with the Klan more, the government saw much more success at infiltrating and subverting the Klan compared to their campaign against leftists, in part due to the shared value system. Agents understood members of the KKK better, and thus they found it easier to get in and relate to them, to gain their trust, and then redirect them to these other groups. The second thing that surprised me was related. It's that Cunningham didn't think COINTELPRO was all that successful against the leftists. That was in part due to the same reason they did have success with the Klan. Agents just didn't get leftists. They stood out like sore thumbs, and leftists were better able to spot them and figure out what they were up to. Cunningham doesn't say this bluntly, but I will. Leftists were probably way, way, way smarter than the Klansmen. While COINTELPRO wasn't super effective, it did contribute.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the decline of the New Left, with Cunningham concluding that the serious costs of New Left participation were borne by overt repression, most significantly police violence and judicial actions, and COINTELPRO New Left was effective in this context. As a supplement to the overt repressive apparatus, it contributed to the creation of an overall repressive climate that pushed organizations like SDS away from viable mass political dissent. Oh yeah, right. The overt crushing of dissent that happened at the same time as all the covert stuff. I had actually nearly forgotten about that. So we come back to NSPM 7, which Trump made public despite the fact that most of these directives usually are confidential. Why bother to be covert when we all see what's happening on our streets every day? Trump has proudly announced that the FBI is going to get back to doing what they do best, crushing leftists for the crime of challenging the status quo, for wanting equal rights, regardless of race, gender, or sexuality, for wanting to live in a secular society that values and protects people regardless of their religion or lack thereof. And unlike back in the 1950s, now they have access to a vast surveillance network and zero guardrails. So,
cool.
Yeah, no positive message at the end of this, just stay safe out there.
Cool stuff. The Salmon Flotilla is still sailing. Nice! I heard they were going to try to do an even bigger run. Graylio, welcome. If you think being a citizen protects you, I'm afraid this is not about citizenship. U.S. citizen sues after twice being detained by immigration agents. So, just to be clear, the Supreme Court, basically said that it was okay to profile based on race. So I don't know how far, unfortunately, this lawsuit is going to go. In fact, I would say that this is probably a very good story to pay attention to kind of test that. I'm just me. Welcome. How many ships got seized by the IDF? I have no idea. A lot. A lot were boarded, if I remember correctly. They sent out quite the amount of people. An Alabama construction worker and U.S. citizen who said he was detained twice by immigration agents within just a few weeks had filed a lawsuit in federal court demanding an end to the Trump administration workplace raids targeting industries with large immigrant workforce. Well, what if you're white and speak Spanish? That is an acceptable parameter to be detained, by the way, according to what the Supreme Court's opinion was. speaking a different language like Spanish may be grounds for you to be questioned. That's not true? Really? What's not true? What's not true? Come on. Come on, clown. There's quite a bit of folks here that you want to show your ass to. Let's go. What's not true? Being bilingual is grounds for detention? Absolutely. Absolutely. They literally said that you speaking a different language may be grounds for you to be detained. Source? The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court issued a unsigned order stating that federal agents could continue to detain people and question them about their immigration status based on one or more of these factors: presumed race or ethnicity, speaking Spanish or speaking English with an accent, type of employment, and being an area deemed high concentration of immigrants or migrants. If you're gonna debate me, bro, like at least come correct, okay? Like, you can just Google this stuff. You can literally just Google this stuff. Google is free. Like, you can even read the quotes from the justices. Won't show the source? Right here. Read. Clasp is a left. You can literally read the quote from the justices. You know, right words are constitutionally incapable of coming correct. I know. Like, anything I put in front of them will be not a good source. The whole reason why this came before the Supreme Court was to argue that they could actually detain you for being at a Home Depot, or for speaking Spanish, or for looking a certain way. Yeah, should not, meaning that's the dissent. Bro, that's the dissent, not the actual this is the dissent, you absolute moron. That is the dissent. The justice is saying we shouldn't have to. The rest of the Supreme Court voted in favor of this. This has to be bait. This has to be rage bait. This has to be rage bait. Not true? Okay, whatever. Not true? Fuck off. Look, here it is right here. Justice Brett Kavanaugh of the actual majority of opinion cited Los Angeles' large undocumented population and wrote that race can be a relevant factor alongside other common sense indicators such as employment, like landscaping, agriculture, construction, limited English proficiency, i.e. Spanish. I mean, like, this has to be rage bait. This has to be rage bait. Anyways. You know, people love to just come here and show their ass as if I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I would abandon the guy would victimize himself. Nah, we don't need that kind of energy here. Like, look, if it's one thing if you actually want to, like, accept that you're wrong, that you're wrong and you made a mistake, and then, like, continue to, like, dig your own hole. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. They're saying misinformation was in the Vanguard chat today, and we're all first-time chatters. Phenomenal. They can't even say it right. It's misinformation. She got married. Hey! I mean, like, where do these people come from? They think that we don't have Google, that we can't just look up the actual, like, case that happened in LA, that literally, like, the entire premise of that case is to argue whether or not ICE should be able to racially profile you based on where you are, meaning like a Home Depot or whatever, based on what you look like and how you're speaking. Like, that was the whole point of the case, and they decided 6-3. It's phenomenal how, like, people think that they can just come in here and gaslight like that. Anyways, the Alabama construction worker and U.S. citizen said he was detained twice within just a few weeks, had filed a lawsuit in federal court demanding an end to the Trump administration workplace raids targeting industries with large immigrant workforces. The class action lawsuit filed on Tuesday by Leo Garcia Venegas, a concrete worker, demands an end to what the firm calls unconstitutional and illegal immigration enforcement tactics. Unfortunately, the reason why I want to bring this up is actually that Supreme Court decision that we were just talking about. So unfortunately, I don't know how this is going to play out. Of course, I would say I would probably defer to people who are better at legal stuff than I am. But I would like to see how this plays out, given that the Supreme Court said actually, or set the precedent that actually, yeah, ICE can do this. ICE can detain citizens and, essentially shoot first, ask questions later, right? Not quite sea-lining, but the message structure was recognizable as right-wing time waster. It seems like they're either practicing their rhetoric or trying to accumulate badges as badge of honor. Well, they earned that one. That one's an easy-peasy one. Like, the moment you want to come here and try to debate bro me, first of all, you're not going to out-debate bro me. That's not going to happen. Second of all, this is not a debate channel. God bless to the people that can, but this is not a debate. This is not a debate channel. The only debate bro allowed here is me. It's always better to ridicule them or even ignoring those trolls. Oh, that's my favorite thing to do. Literally, like, the first thing that I said was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. You know, you really want to show your ass in front of all these people, and of course they would. That's why it's even worth arguing over ICE. I mean, I love it. Yeah, the only debate bro allowed here is me. Venegas, who was born in the U.S., lives and works in Baldwin County, Alabama, Gulf Coast area between the yada yada yada. The lawsuit, filed with public interest law firm Institute for Justice, comes just weeks after the Supreme Court lifted a judge's restraining order that barred immigration agents in LA from stopping people solely based on their race, language, job, or location. Holy crap! Yeah, literally, we just went over this, and I'm being told that this didn't happen. It's fascinating. That's fascinating. You know who would love this? Hutch would love this. Hutch would love this. I'm not going to debate you in my own house. I'm just going to kick you out. Yeah. The only debate lord allowed here is me. Yeah, might as well make them into content. But seriously, no, it really does bring up the only reason they were it was kind of important to highlight this is because this all ties into this story. All of this ties into this story. Literally, the reason why we're going over this is for this exact same Supreme Court decision. The court has repeatedly allowed some of Trump administration's harshest immigration policies while also leaving open the large legal outcomes. Open that legal outcomes could shift as cases play out. The Department of Homeland Security dismissed the suit as race-baiting opportunism. Sure. DHS law enforcement uses reasonable suspicion to make arrests. Assistant Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement, "What makes someone a target for immigration enforcement is if they're legally in the U.S., not of their skin color, race, or ethnicity. However, we know this is bullshit because they literally argued that the way to make that to allow them to stop people based on race, language, or job or location. So you can't. Which one is it? Like you can't have both, right? Like, and how do you know if a person is here legally or not? Like, what? How do you make that determination? They just stop. They racially profile people. Let's be honest. Hey, my name's Gray. What happened? I don't know. Your name looks purple on my end. Maybe it's just a Twitch thing. I see your name is purple. Too bad Supreme Court just says it cannot be impeached. It can. It can be. Random chatter destroys the difficult truth in earth-shattering debate. It might be a Twitch thing. I'm just me. It might be a Twitch thing because I see all of your usernames. Purple, orange, yellow. So I don't know. It might just be a Twitch thing. Twitch is random like that sometimes. McLaughlin did not address why Venegas was detained twice, even though he's a U.S. citizen. It's because he was brown. The new lawsuit describes repeated raids on workplaces despite agents having no warrants, no suspicion that the specific workers were in the U.S. illegally, and a string of U.S. citizens, many with Latino-sounding names, were detained. Right, because they're being racially profiled. It's that simple. The Department of Homeland Security authorizes these armed raids based on the general assumption that certain groups of people in the industry, including Latinos, are likely illegal immigrants, i.e., racial profiling. In May, a raid that swept up Venegas' video shot by a coworker shows him being forced to the ground by immigration agents as he repeatedly insisted he was a U.S. citizen. The lawsuit said that the agents targeted workers at the building who looked Latino while leaving alone the workers who their workers. Venegas was released after more than an hour, according to the law firm. Venegas was detained again at another construction site less than a month later. It feels like there's nothing I can do to stop immigration agents from arresting me whenever they want. Right, because it's based on race. That's what it is. At least being a Supreme Court justice should have term limits. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Although I don't know like what the setup would be. Certainly lifetime appointments are kind of bad. It's kind of wild that someone, you know, the 9 law wizards that rule over us have lifetime appointments, and we don't get a say in how that works, right? Other than like we elect the president, I guess. They're now just doing the Peter Griffin meme. Yep. Venegas, who specializes in laying concrete foundations, said he was detained both times despite showing his Alabama-issued real ID, a higher security identity card available to only U.S. citizens and legal residents. Immigration agents told him the ID card was fake before eventually, like, see, oh my God, this is actually another great point about how like it doesn't matter, doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not. It doesn't matter if you have like the right paperwork or not. Your real ID, your passport, your birth certificate may not save you. These people are acting without impunity because that's what the administration has emphasized. Okay, if you are brown, if you look not American, not white, then you are subject to this, right? They're literally, even if you show them a birth certificate, they can just be like, nope, fake. Real ID, nope, fake. Oh, perfect. Valid passport, nope. He was released after being after about 20 to 30 minutes. Immigration officers are not above the law. Institute for Justice Attorney Jabba, since I'm not even going to try, said in a statement, Leo's a hardworking American citizen standing up for everyone's right to work without being detained merely for the way they look or the job that they do. Again, I think this is a very important case to look to pay attention to, because of that very same Supreme Court decision. Definitely something to pay attention to, for sure. Speaker Johnson has yet to swear in the newly elected Arizona lawmaker Adelita Grijalva. So I'll make this short because the TLDR of this is that he is intentionally stalling the rightful and newly elected lawmaker. He's effectively stonewalling this for the purpose of protecting Donald Trump, because that would be one step closer to be able for the Democrats to be able to release the Epstein files. That's what this is about. Even though she won the election. Besides the fact that it gives the Republicans don't have that much of a majority, but that would give them just that one more vote. So yeah, I mean, it's very obvious that what they're doing here is protecting Donald Trump. That's literally what they're doing. It doesn't matter what Mike Johnson says. Doesn't matter what Republicans say. It's very obvious that they're trying to stall for time, because they know stalling won't change the outcome. No, it won't. But they certainly want to do that to deny, not just deny like democracy, because she won her election, which they're a big fan of doing. At every chance they get, they love to kneecap democracy. But they're also protecting Donald Trump. You know. All I have to say is predators protect predators. So if you're protecting Donald Trump, then perhaps there should be a closer look at those protecting predators. The GOP has become a Praetorian Guard. Any news on the escalator gate? Yeah, it's unclear. It's unclear the lengths at which that escalator is guilty of treason for trying to stall the commander-in-chief, the dear leader. All right, folks, we got time for this one story. Republicans don't win elections without voter suppression anyways. Yep. They always need some kind of crutch, right? Like the Electoral College, voter suppression, making sure as little people as possible are able to vote. So yeah, I agree. All right, folks, we got this one story, and this is a very important story. So I think the latest scandal with this whole government shutdown. Education department employees are surprised to find their email automatically changed to blame Democrats for shutdown. So this presents a lot of legal problems because technically government employees aren't supposed to do this, but they're not the ones doing it. And by the way, I can confirm from a firsthand account that this actually is happening. This actually is happening. I can confirm through a firsthand account that this is happening. Department of Education employees furloughed this week discovered their email accounts had been manipulated while they were out of office to include partisan talking points and blamed the government shutdown on Democrats, even though it's obviously Republicans' fault. 5 employees who spoke with NBC News provided copies of their out-of-office messages, said the wording was altered from how they originally had composed them. All of them are civil servants, not political appointees, and requested anonymity for fear of professional repercussions. Education officials had initially sent employees templates of nonpartisan out-of-office wording to use in their emails. Several employees said they used the language provided by the department officials earlier in the week, only to find while they were furloughed, someone had changed it. One person said they changed their out-of-office message back to the nonpartisan version, only to have it revert back to the partisan wording later. None of us consented to this, and it's written in first person as if I'm the one conveying this message, and I'm not. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's ethical or legal. I think it violates the Hatch Act, this person said, referring to the law that imposes limits on political activity by federal employees. I took a statement that they sent us earlier in the week to use, and I pasted it on top of that. Basically, has a standard out of office. Another one of the Department of Education employees said they went in and manipulated my out of office reply, and I guess they're now making us all guilty of violating the Hatch Act. Phenomenal. On Wednesday, NBC reported that some employees at federal agencies were being offered partisan language, blaming Democrats for the shutdown, and use as their out of office message. A number of federal websites also now display language going after Democrats or the, quote, radical left. What Department of Education is doing goes further, pulling individual civil servants to the political talking points even if they don't agree with them. I imagine there's a lot of hate, self-hate in that repression. 100%. Maddie Bitterman, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Communications, replied, the email reminds us, those who reach out to the Department of Education employees, that we cannot respond because Senate Democrats are refusing to vote for a clean CR and fund the government. Where's the lie? Problem here is the lie is that you're blaming, first of all, one party over this, and you're manipulating and using, which, by the way, the employees never did this. This is a manipulation by the federal government. To violate the Hatch Act. In other words, engage in like political activism, essentially. They're literally like puppeting, whether or not these employees want to, whether or not these employees agree to this or not, they're literally puppeting these employees to engage in political activism. It's not clean at all. Yeah, that goes without saying, yes. I love this. Nice. They should post that. They should post that and just make sure that instead of the federal government, just say like the Republican shutdown has been going on for this amount of time. I kind of like this idea. The altered email message included language saying, thank you for contacting me on September 10th. House of Representatives passed HR, clean continuing resolution. Unfortunately, Democrat senators are blocking passage of HR 57, which led to a lapse in appropriation to the lapse of appropriation currently furlough status. I respond. Like, nobody talks like that, man. This is obviously a copy pasta. Like, what are you talking about? The facts are liberal. Change it. One of the employees said they were not overly worried about getting hit with a Hatch Act violation, saying the department has crossed into a level of partisanship they'd never seen without anyone being held accountable. Oh, yeah, it's actually a good point, right? Like, I guess, who cares, right? Whatever. Yeah, nobody follows the law anymore, so why does it even matter? It seems like laws are dotted lines now, not solid, and it seems true. I hate that this is a thing. It seems that no one holds this administration accountable to laws, said one of the employees. As far as fearing any repercussions, they said, clearly, this wasn't done by me. It was done while I was in furlough, and I think I would be able to argue that point. I mean, like, this is wild that they're actually doing this, using federal employees, civil servants, not even, like, appointed offices, for this very purpose. They're puppeting all of these, God knows how many accounts, right? Thousands. Last time even Schumer cucked himself. Government statements are issued by the Ministry of Truth. Correct. Correct. The same Ministry of Truth that says that our military shouldn't be full of beardos while having the vice president look like this. The same Ministry of Truth that says that generals shouldn't be, quote, fat. Meanwhile, the commander-in-chief is let's be real. That Ministry of Truth. HR 1319 says I haven't passed the House or Senate yet, but I heard Congress came back from recess to pass it, so I think they're keeping it secret, or they fired the website update guy. I mean, who knows? Because all of that might not be updated right now. All right, folks, it's time for me to get out of here. It is just under 7 o'clock, which is perfect because food's basically about ready. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Thank you, and a big welcome to all the new follows that hanged out here. Holy Cheesy, Taya, Gented, General Mark, Cherry Sassafras, heck yeah, him making bacon. Thank you for all the new follows. Thank you, and a huge shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Hutch, for bringing your wonderful community over here. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your content as well. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to support the channel, hey, keep doing what you're doing, folks. Liking, sharing, subscribing on the YouTubes, all the stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you. If you want to support the channel directly, check out all the links, folks. Merch, tip, Substack, do all the stuff. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. Check out my show on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on YouTube. Thank you all. Ground Level News. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the YouTube crew. Once again, huge shout out to Hutch. Appreciate it. Thank you for bringing your wonderful folks over here. It was a pleasure. Thank you all. I'll be back on Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all and hope to see you guys in the next one, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Hang tight, folks. And remember, Toasty! Hang tight, folks. Hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.